But first, the Nationals have sold out. They yesterday agreed to back the insane global warming plan of Prime Minister Scott Morrison, zero emissions by 2050. Even though the Nationals leader, Barnaby Joyce himself, told me it's a dud, it won't work, it won't do a thing to stop global warming. If we cut our emissions to net zero like the Prime Minister wants, by how much will that cut the world's temperature?
Well, there's no action by Australia that's going to change the temperature of the globe at all.
In fact, the Nationals, under Joyce, who's also our Deputy Prime Minister, are now supporting a plan so dodgy that the best that Barnaby Joyce could say about it today is that at least this government, unlike Labor, won't put this plan into law, meaning they can always drop it.
The difference is the Labor Party are going to legislate it. The Labor Party are actually going to make a process and put in place a process, unless they can tell us otherwise, that's going to put at risk the mining jobs which the Nationals went into bat to support.
You've got the same goals. So by you saying it's not legislated, you're saying, well, maybe you're hoping that you can get out of it in some way.
No, once we make a deal, we make a deal. And we stick to that deal. We say technology, the Labor says legislation. And legislation can include such things as carbon taxes.
Do you believe any of this? Now, the Nationals are backing this crazy zero emissions target, even though Barnaby Joyce knows it won't work, says he doesn't know what it will cost, and doesn't know how we'd even cut our emissions to zero anyway. There's no plan, no budget, no hope. And yet the Nationals have now said, yes, we're on board. Are they nuts? Now, they're on board after a majority of the Nationals, we're told 13 of them reportedly outvoted the 8 who are against this zero emissions target, Joyce included. So why have they gone along with something that's so useless, so expensive, and something near impossible to achieve? Oh, of course, Barnaby Joyce today had an excuse. The Nationals couldn't stop Scott Morrison from going to the Glasgow Climate Summit at the end of the week and promising net zero anyway. So the Nationals just grabbed the best deal they could in exchange for saying yes to this nonsense. They sold out.
The way I saw it was the Prime Minister was going to Glasgow in any case. So the Nationals had two choices. We could negotiate a better outcome for regional Australia or be part of a sort of a thespian outfit, ranting and raving, but having no real effect on any decisions that were made.
I can't believe some of the stuff I'm hearing. So the Nationals decided to agree to something useless and damaging because otherwise they couldn't stop Scott Morrison from doing something else that was useless and damaging. They're thinking long term. It's a joke, right? Now, we don't actually know what the Nationals got from the Liberals in exchange for saying yes to net zero. It's all a big secret. Maybe if you knew, you'd be upset, so they won't tell you. Except one thing we do know is that the Nationals got a deal from Scott Morrison to put Resource Minister Keith Pitt, who's one of the Nationals, back into Cabinet. And that happens to be the very same bloke who last week also said correctly that a plan like Morrison's was actually useless, would not change the climate.
Do you think climate change is real?
Oh, the climate's changing. It's always changed, Fran. Do I think that Australia can change the temperature of the globe? Well, I don't think we can. If we shut our economy, I don't think it'll make one iota of difference.
Yes, the Nationals have said yes to a dumb policy they know won't work. In fact, everyone knows it won't work. And they've surrendered to this idiocy for the sake of a little more influence over a government that from the polls today will be smashed at the next election, to be held by May. 8 points behind Labor now, looking for a second miracle to survive. So for 7 months of a little bit more influence with a government that's actually dying, according to the polls, the Nationals have sold their good name not for 7 months, but for years to come. And yes, they're sellouts. This all just shows they're seekers of power, not defenders of truth.